مقاصر وقيسرين تتفليس كامل السراب ليس ولا سيدين وتتقدها يا سلام يا أهل تمليس الشارع لتسودوية رمتا لك السقايا الدنيا السرية تفسد بالكيسة فاتقاطع تمليس السيرة وانا تنقل يا تتقضى في الضغطة وطول
to be close to the mic so we will call and then we can continue with our program.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today to this peaceful assembly. I'm here today to recite knowledge so we can all gain wisdom from this peaceful assembly. There's a time and place for everything in life, and today's the day where we as Somalians rebel for change. We have to unite and put our differences aside so that we can work together to build our country back. This coalition demands an immediate withdrawal of Ethiopian troops from Somalia.
Yes! Out of Somalia! Ethiopia out of Somalia!
The end to U.S. diplomatic and military support of Ethiopian troops in the occupation of Somalia.
Stop the occupation
of Somalia. The Canadian government to join the international community in condemning this aggression.
Yes, yes.
At the forefront in organizing this rally. This shows that the future generations of Somalis are ready to take the lead in responding to the cry of our people. This rally shows that Canadians of all backgrounds reject the invasion of Somalia.
Yes!
As you are all aware, on December 24th, under the guise of Christmas Eve, Somalia's sovereignty and territorial integrity has been violated. Ethiopia, with the help of the United States, carried out a military invasion of Somalia, killing thousands of innocent Somalis and making the humanitarian crisis that already was prevalent in Somalia even worse.
Shame on you! Shame on US!
This illegal invasion has been condemned by all international organizations and countries, including the European Union.
Yeah!
Every country's sovereignty is protected by the Charter of the United Nations. This charter has been violated, and we are not, well, we are asking the Canadian government to take a leading role to condemn this invasion and the occupation of Somalia.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
We believe the political crisis in Somalia can only be resolved by dialogue among the people of Somalia. There can be no military solution to the political crisis in Somalia. We're also urging the Canadian government to take a leading role to resolve this crisis. Canada has a role to play. Canada is a host to the largest Somali community in the world and has a moral responsibility to get involved.
Yes!
We're asking the Canadian government to send a strong message to the world that it rejects this invasion and should put forward a better opinion or better option for peace. That is the Canadian way.
Yes, yes, that's right.
I want to thank everyone coming out this early in the morning or Saturday morning to reject the invasion of Somalia.
Yeah.
We want the U.S. to stop the military and diplomatic support that they're giving this invasion.
Yeah.
We're here to reject it, and we pronounce it strongly in the strongest terms. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And now we'd like to welcome our second guest, Peter Naboos from the MPP Toronto Danforth.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's my pleasure to present a statement on behalf of Jack Layton, leader of the federal NDP. And I'll just read out. New Democrats are deeply concerned about the ongoing crisis in Somalia. The NDP calls on Ethiopia to abide by the UN mandate and on Eritrea to support the UN efforts at building a peacekeeping force. The NDP condemns U.S. unilateralism and calls on the government of Canada to push at the UN. Calls on Canada to push at the UN for a comprehensive multilateral approach to bring peace and stability to the whole region. We are equally concerned about the U.S. airstrikes that took place on January 7th in southern Somalia near Ras Kamboni.
That's terrorism. Yes, terrorism. Shame, USA. Shame, USA. Shame, USA. Shame, USA. Shame, USA.
Which killed dozens of innocent Somalis. Finally, the NDP supports the UN envoy to Somalia, Francois Fall's call for Somalia's president, Abdullah Yusuf, to set up an inclusive government.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out and showing your opposition to war and unilateralism. With all our hopes that things are settled, stabilized justly in Somalia.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Somalia is for Somalis. Yes. Somalia is for Somalis. Yes. Somalia.
I would like to welcome our next guest, Khalid Mamour, who is the president of Canadian Arab Federation, the leading nation, the national organization representing Arabs in Canada.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Thank you.
The Canadian Arab Federation accuses the U.S. government of being a threat to world peace.
Yes, sir. Yes, they are.
The Bush administration has come out with a new world order, as they call it, but it's actually a world disorder. It's a world, they're creating a world that is based on the rule of jungle. They're throwing away all the institutions, international institutions, and laws that have been developed over a century, so that people would treat each other and countries would treat each other with civility. What is happening now in Somalia is an example of this new world order that the Bush administration has come up with. It is a world where bullies and criminals who have guns and money can go into any country, invade it, occupy it, and control it and exploit it. We are against this. We oppose this type of mentality and these policies. The U.S. government is using the so-called war on terrorism to start neo-colonialism in this 21st century.
Shame on USA! Shame! Shame on USA! Shame! Shame 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 USA!
They are doing all these things to serve their military, industrial, corporate elites and to control strategic areas in the world like the Horn of Africa.
Yeah! Shame on USA!
The U.S. has gone into Afghanistan and Iraq using these pretexts to occupy and control the oil reserves and the flow of oil through these countries. They have also been using proxies like Ethiopia, which was encouraged by the United States to enter Somalia and invade it. And they have used Israel and Lebanon to go in there and destroy the Lebanese resistance that is led by Hezbollah.
Yeah! Right on! Shame! Shame USA.
They have failed in Lebanon and they will fail in Somalia.
Yes, God willing, yes.
Ethiopia has 10 times the population of Somalia.
That's right.
But it is led by a government which is a dictatorial government that oppresses its own nationalities. It oppresses the Oromos, the Amharas, and it is even opposed by Tigrinians. So how do we expect a government like that to care for Somalis if they don't even treat them?
Impossible, no.
We are really embarrassed and ashamed that our Canadian government has remained silent while the European Union, the African Union and the League of Arab States have condemned this invasion by Ethiopia. And this is a lesson for all of us. At the next elections, provincial or federal, make sure you vote for candidates who oppose war and aggression. Freedom for Somalia, US and Ethiopia out of Somalia.
Thank you.
Before we welcome our next guest, I would like to say the blessings and the guidance of Allah, we shall overcome any evil. Our next representative is Peter Lipovich, who is a member of the trade unions against the war and at the Hamilton Coalition to stop the war.
Thank you.
No, the sun shines in your lens.
I'm a member of the Steelworkers Union and a member of the Trade Unions Coalition to Stop the War. As a trade unionist and as a working person in this country, we expect that people in this country to be treated with dignity, with social justice and economic fairness. And the same principles that we believe in the treatment of working people in this country should be the principles that we apply in our treatment in the international community. The fact that working people and ordinary people around the world are being subjected to the terror and the military occupation of American-led foreign policy has to stop, and it has to stop now.
Change USA! Change USA!
It is no coincidence that when the ruling elites of this country use divide and conquer tactics to weaken the resolve of working people here, they do the same tactics around the world.
Yes!
They're fomenting civil war, creating chaos, and creating destabilizing nations all across the Horn of Africa and the Middle East.
Yes! That's right!
And we have to resolve here in this country, as working people, as people of all different nationalities, whether we're Christian, Muslim, or Jewish, we have to believe in the principles of the justice and peace. And as Khalid said before me,
That's right!
that it's time we put in leaders in this country that are willing to stand up to that oppression and to stop this policy of war and oppression. It's time to stop it now. Thank you.
Thank you!
We'd like to welcome our next guest, Safi Galato, who's from Oromo, standing together with Somalian people. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for coming out today. And we Oromos have been persecuted by the Ethiopian, that seems to be taking a role for the United States. We've been oppressed and we've been sheltered by our Somali brothers and sisters for decades. We stand behind the cause of Somalia. We stand behind the cause of Somali people. We're against the invasion of Ethiopia. We're against the Ethiopian regime altogether. And we stand behind you all the time. I'm glad that you all came out today. We see the Horn of Africa turning into a graveyard for so many, and we hope that that's going to be cleared up, and we hope that Somalis will regain their independence once again. We're going to be behind you all the way through. You've sheltered us, and Somalis have given us a shelter. Hundreds of thousands of Oromo refugees have lived in Somalia. that claims to be bringing democracy, that it doesn't even know its own land. Today, Ethiopia is in war with Eritrea. Ethiopia is in war with its own people internally. It's been ravaged with poverty. It's been ravaged with so much atrocity. It's the poorest country in the world, but it's amassing an incredible armed power to invade its own neighbor, and we do not support this kind of invasion. We stand behind the Somali people. Thank you.
Somalia is for Somali.
Thank you so much. We'd like to welcome our next guest on behalf of the coalition, Shabir Dini.
Thank you.
Dear friends, we thank you very much for coming out such a cold day. It really tells us that you are peace-loving people. We are here today to condemn the illegal aggression and occupation of Somalia by Ethiopian troops. As you all know, that Somalia is a war-torn country which has been bleeding to death. The presence of Ethiopian forces in Somalia is a breach of the United Nations Resolution 1725, which was passed in December 2006. This resolution prohibits the deployment of troops from states that share borders with Somalia. The invasion of Ethiopia in Somalia also violates the international laws and the African Union Charter. The use of military force has forced thousands of civilians to flee from their communities to the border near Kenya. However, Kenya closed its border with Somalia, denying these innocent civilians the right to seek refuge. We call on the Kenyan government to show compassion and kindness to the innocent civilians fleeing from war. United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees also needs to take actions on measures to address this crisis. Air bombardment of innocent civilians, particularly women and children, by the Ethiopian troops and United States is a violation of human rights by any standard. While the presence of Ethiopian troops affects the well-being of all Somalis, but women have paid the heaviest price. Sexual violence, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
As you all know that in times of war and military invasions, victorious groups often use rape as a weapon of war to harm and humiliate the conquered community. Ladies and gentlemen,
Shame on USA. Shame USA.
Ladies and gentlemen, reports reaching us indicated that Ethiopian troops have in fact raped a number of Somali women in a number of villages and towns in Somalia.
Yes, shame USA.
Also, aid agencies have also revealed these ugly atrocities and terror against Somali women. Actually, we call on the international community to investigate these incidents and hold these culprits accountable for such heinous crime. Shame Ethiopia, shame
USA.
We are calling for the immediate withdrawal of Ethiopian troops from Somalia.
Withdraw now. Out of Somalia.
Military aggression and illegal occupation is not and will not be the right way to build peace in Somalia.
Yes.
Using military action as the only solution will perpetuate the current tensions in the region and cause further humanitarian crisis. What Somalia and its people need is an honest peace broker.
Yes.
Peace in Somalia can only be attained through dialogue, and we call the international community, including Canada, to help Somalis bridge their differences through dialogue and reconciliation. No. Peace cannot be built upon violence because violence leads to violence. Somalia should not be a theater of proxy wars and the hidden agenda of Ethiopia and its American allies. Shame. We call on the United States to stop supporting the aggression and the occupation of Ethiopian troops in Somalia. No. USA must use diplomatic means to help Somalia. We say stop the terror of Meles Zenawi,
much. I would like to bring the next guest. Zafar Bangladesh is the director of the Institute of Contemporary Islamic Thought and a founding member of Somali Unity Group in Toronto.
Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you, and particularly the sisters, for coming out to this very important rally. You know, for months, the people of Somalia were saying that Ethiopian troops have entered our country and they are violating our sovereignty and perpetrating illegal crimes and acts of aggression against us. The Somalis, or the Ethiopians backed by the Americans, were denying this, but on December 24th, we saw the truth when Ethiopian troops backed by Americans invaded Somalia. It is a crime of aggression and it's a crime against humanity.
Yes, yes, it's a war crime.
And we stand here to condemn these war criminals from Ethiopia as well as the war criminals from the United States.
Yes, shame on USA.
The US has been perpetrating war crimes all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, before the Ethiopians came in, there was, in fact, since last June, relative peace in Somalia.
Yes.
For the first time in 15 years, the port of Mogadishu was opened last August by the Islamic Courts Union.
Yes, yes.
People of Somalia were beginning to go back to work.
Yes.
And today we have crisis and
Chaos,
mayhem in Mogadishu itself.
Yeah.
Only last night, the presidential palace in Mogadishu was bombed and attacked because the so-called interim government cannot provide any security to the people of Somalia.
Yes, they're corrupted. They're
Brothers and
corrupted.
sisters, what I want to say is we are over here, we should launch a petition for two things. Number one, to check whether George Bush of the United States of America is mad or he is sane. We should find that out.
Yes, he's mad.
And if Bush insists that he is not mad, then I think he should be put on trial as a war criminal.
Yes, that's right. He's
So
a
the choice is
criminal.
for the American people. I also want to urge the Canadian government to come clean, to stand up for truth and justice, and to speak out as other governments in Europe have done. We do not want war and aggression, we want peace for the Somali people.
Yes, peace.
Somalia belongs to the Somali people, and neither the Ethiopians nor the Americans have any business to make Somalia. We should support the freedom of Somalia, and we stand shoulder to shoulder with our Somali brothers and sisters in their struggle for peace and justice.
Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome our next guest, Rafia Siada, is a member of the Coalition Against Israel Apartheid and a leading activist in the Palestinian Solidarity Movement in Toronto.
Hello, everybody. I haven't seen people, or I haven't heard people scream loud enough because we need them in Ethiopia to hear us that we do not accept occupation, so let me hear you scream. And we will come out in the cold. We will come out in the cold because occupation needs us to be out there fighting against it day and night. I'm a member of the Coalition Against
Africa,